Hello guys, you're welcome to this session of our tutorial. So we are going to learn and master the Pixellab tools for graphic designing and every other thing. So this is what you are going to see once you open your Pixellab. As you can see, these are the tools. You can see the ones. It is divided into two: the top ones and the bottom tools. So we are going to touch all the tools here one after the other. So once you open your Pixellab, this is the first interface you are going to see. So let's start from the up. Okay, sorry, let's start from down, from the tools down, then we go up. So once you open, this is what you see. So the first one here, these two. So this two is just the where you get the default background for your designing. Is already inbuilt in the system. So this is the main default. You can just be clicking them to see the different templates there. So all these are just like a background templates, already existing background templates. You can use anyone to start up your design. So this is the default. Basically, this is what everybody uses. From here, you can now start doing your editing and designs. Then the next one here, okay, let's check this one. Projects, my projects. So this is where your saved work are, because when after designing, you can save your projects to your gallery. You can also save it to your Pixellab project, so that you can be able to retrieve it anytime. Maybe you want to do adjustment to your designs. So if you want to save, for instance, if you save your work, you can see save as projects. So all the works you saved will appear here. Once you go here, you will see them. You can be able to retrieve any of them and start designing. For instance, are you sure you want to open this project? You see, it will open the project. So this is where you get all your projects of the designs you saved. So let's go back to default. Now the next one here, this letter A stands for alphabets. That's everything that has to do with text. So let's click there. Other options will pop out. So far, okay, this is a test here. So far, this test is selected. Options, editing options, that is that can be used to format the text, will pop out. Let's unselect this. If you tap the empty space, you can see it has disappeared. So you just need to tap the text so that it can bring up the tools that you are going to use to format or edit your text. So the first thing you are going to see here, once you select this letter A, that is for, just take this letter A as alphabet, text, everything that has to do with text, fonts. This is where you get them. So the first thing here is styles. So this will enable you save a font, a particular font, just like adding it to your favorites. Okay. For instance, if you go to browse, you see the default. That's the text that they have added here already. This will enable you to select any text you want. Maybe if you want to use any of their text as a favorite, this is one they are added already for you as your favorite. You can just go to style, browse, and select any of them. But I don't think you want to create your own So you want to, if you go to this my style, this is where the one you create on by yourself will appear. Okay, let's delete this. This is where the one you created to be your favorite will appear. Okay, let's take for instance, let's just go back. Okay, for instance, let me go to text, fonts. Okay, let me say this is my favorite fonts, for instance. Okay, let me just get a better one. Navies. So this navies is my favorite font. That's what I like using in my designing. So anytime I do design, I don't need to start looking for the font. If I want to make it easily accessible, I'll just go to style and go to save. Okay, I'll now save it as my favorite. So what this thing means is that, okay, let me take it back. Okay, so this is the original font here, the default font here. So maybe after typing my fonts, my tests, what I'm going to do, I'll now start going to font to start searching for my favorite font. At times maybe I might forget, but it's not something you can easily forget, the type of font you use. But if you are designing every day with different fonts, you might forget the particular one. You will not forget, but you start searching for it. To save your time, you can just add them to your favorite. So what I will do now, if I want to use that my favorite font, I'll just go to style and go to browse, then I go to my style. So this is my own style. I'll just select it. You see, it has appeared. So that's the function of this style. You can just use it to save any font as your favorite, so you can be able to pick it anytime you want without stressing yourself. Okay, let's take it back again to default. Now the next thing here is edit. So this is where you can format or edit your text. So let's go to edit. So this is where you can now delete this and type anything. So you can just type. This is where you type, or maybe if you have your text somewhere, you can just copy it and come and paste it here. Once you go to that edit, you paste your text here. Then you can also change the font. This is where you change the case, this place, uppercase. Once you tap here, it will change all the letter here, all the letters to uppercase. Just, you can see, if you tap it again, it will change them to lowercase. Then when you are done, you click OK. If you want to delete the text, you can just click here and delete it. You see? But let's just take it again. So you change it to uppercase here, then OK. You can see. So once you have something like this and you don't want this second one under it, you can just hold here and drag it like yes. You can drag it. If you want to bring it back, you can just adjust it like this, drag. So then the next one, delete. Simply as the name is, delete. You can use it to delete anything. So if you click it, it will delete this font here, this text. Then the next one, copy. You can use it to copy text. You can use this when you want to retain the same font size, font color, and the type of font used. So if you don't want to start, maybe you have another text to add and you want to retain the same thing, you don't need to start selecting the font again. After typing, you go and select the font so that it will be the same. You just have to copy. Once you copy, you can now edit. You can now add the new text that you want to add. You can see they are the same thing. Now another one here is to front, to back. So this thing is just as the name is, you can use it to send any text behind each other or in front. You can use it to, not just for text, you can use it to send anything behind or forward. For instance, let's get something that will help us. We are still going to go there, but let's just get something that will help us to understand this section. So let's get a shape. Let's change the color to something like this. Okay. So now let's go to any of these fonts. Now you can see all these tests, they are behind, because anytime you bring in new objects, it will always be in the front. So now I want to send this test to front. So what I will do is just tap on the test and click to front. It is now in the front. You can see this one is still behind, so you also tap to front, it will come to the front. If you want it to go to the back, you just tap to back. Okay, but let's just bring them to the front. So that's how it works. Then you have another one here, position. Position will enable you to position any text with a precision. For instance, I want this to be at the edge here. I can easily do it by just holding and moving. But maybe if my hand is shaking or I don't trust my hand movement, if I want it to be fitting at the edge of this shape, I want precision, I will just, for instance, it was here before, I will just go to position. You can see the directions. If I start clicking here, okay, you can reduce the speed of the movement by adjusting this one. For instance, if I take it down to 1, you see that the speed it will not be jumping. You understand? The rate by which is moving will be reduced. It can help you to perfectly fit into something. If I adjust it, like if I increase the speed, you can see how it will be jumping. If I reduce it, it will be moving slower. So you can use this thing for many purposes, just to position something with precision in the correct place you want it to be. You can always use your hand, but for instance, if by mistake I'm moving this and I sent it inside there, I cannot get it back again. So what I'm going to do is to use this to bring it back. You understand? So you can always use this to bring something back. If you cannot reach it out, maybe it's at the edge here, it will be very hard for me to drag it out. I'll just use this to bring it out, then use my hand and start moving it. So basically that's how this thing works. You can use this one to increase the speed of the movement anytime. Maybe you want it to be moving faster, I will just increase it. You want it to be moving slower. When you got into the place you want to position it, so that there will be accuracy in your positioning. Okay, now let's just talk about the stuffs here. You can see this semi let me say arc or circular something here. This thing is for rotation. Once you hold this place, you can use it to rotate the text anywhere. Then this thing is just like the handle that you can use to drag, use it to increase or decrease the size of the font. Then this one, once you take it like this, you can see what is happening. So this one, once you drag it, you can use it to open up a text or to close it up so that it will enter the next line. You can see, so that's the function of this handle. So if you notice, once you deselect anyone, it will take you back to like a default alphabet text this thing. But once you click on the text, it will bring up the editing tools that you are going to use for that text. Okay, so the next thing here is a relative position. So this one, just like the name is, this one is used to relatively position anything. See what I mean? This thing is here now, and I want it to be at the center. I can easily drag it and keep it at the center. You understand? But if you bring a ruler now, you notice that this thing is not at the center. I can take it here. Maybe I want it to be at the top right, top left, bottom right and left, center, buttons, and you understand? So if I start dragging it, I can press it, but not with precision. It might not be accurately positioned at the center. You understand? So that's what is called relative position. In relative position now, you are trying to relatively position it, you understand, to be at the center or at the top left with accuracy. For instance, let's see the options. Relative position, this one here. So it will change if I click here, it will take it to this direction in relation with this current position. You understand? That's why it's called relative position. So it will take it, if once I click here, it will take it to to this direction in relation with this old position. So let me tap here, for instance. You can see it will take it to the edge. You understand? If I click up, it will also take it to the up in relation to the last position it was before. But it will be accurate. It will maintain the margin, the default margin. You can see the margins is not too close to the wall. You can now decide to, maybe you want your margin to be increased, like you don't want to use their own margin, but it will position it in a way that it will not leave the margin of the book. It will not enter inside, like it will not come and be like this. No, it makes sure that it positions it in a very accurate way. If I want this thing to be by the side in relation with this position it is now, I will just click here to go by the side. If I want it down, then if I want it to be at the center, if I want it to be at the center in relation to this place it was before, I will just click here. You see, it's now at the center. Now if you click this one, it will take it to the middle. Once you click here, it will take it to the middle. You can see the arrow. You understand? You can see this one, vertical, horizontal. You can see the line above the arrow, horizontal. So these are the relative positions. So it will take it to any position in relation with the where it was before and this vertical line here. You understand? If I taking it to this horizon, if I click here, it will take it to the center, so that it will lie like horizontal. You understand? It will lie horizontal. If I use this one, it will be down, up, to take it to this axis. You understand? So this is how this thing works. So if I want to place this thing at the center, I will just click here. You can see it has now come to the center. Then I want it to align with the vertical axis at the center. So this is the center line. So this thing is serving as the center line. Okay, let me add grid so that you understand. This is grid, so that you understand better what I'm saying. Now let's take it up. Okay, let's click here, for instance. You can see if you tap here, it will take it to the other side. If you click down, it will take it down. Center, it will take it up. Then if you click vertical, it will now take it to this vertical axis here. You understand? So to place something at the center, you have to combine these two. If this thing is here before, if you want it to be at the center with precision, that means you have to combine these two together, so that they will not, that means this line and this one will intercept. So this test will intercept here. Okay, sorry, okay, you can see. So this, if you combine these two things, 1 2, you can see. Okay, let's place it here again. So combining these two, we just make it to come and intercept. You understand? This point of interception here, sorry, here and here, is going to appear there. Just from the figure here, you can see the vertical This one is vertical, this one is horizontal. So if you join them together, if you come and place the text at the center, the middle, let's try it. You can see if I want it to go up to still maintain this center, I will just tap here. You can see the arrow is pointing up already. I'll just click here. If I want it to go by the side, I'll click here. Down, I'll click here. You understand? So if I want it to intercept, I'll just click here and click here. You understand? So this is how to use the relative positioning. You can use it to center something anytime. So now the next one here is size. Just like the name is used to adjust the size of your text. So let's go to size. You can see, just with precision, you can use to accurately determine the size of any fonts. You can also do it by increasing here, tapping here. But if you are not in this tool, for instance, if you are not here, you can always use it, but you will not see the size. You understand? If I increase this thing now, I don't know, I can't tell this one is bigger than this, but I can't tell the size. You understand? But if you know the size, it can enable me to adjust this one. Like for instance, if I go here 72, if I now click here, I can go to size and take it up to 72. You can see this plus and minus sign. So plus, you can use it to increase. Minus, you can use it to decrease. Okay, you can also use this thing, just drag it. Okay, and padding, let's see what this one does. Just click, you can pad to the left, or you can pad to the right. So you might not even need this thing in your design, but you can see the effect on the text. If I pad, you can see, you can just use it to adjust. So this thing are just for adjusting your text. Okay, and you'll be seeing this thing frequently every time, almost every time when you're editing anything. This good, you can see this sign of mark, this good mark, just like a approval, accepts, okay. It can serve as accepts, okay. You understand that? You can, if you click okay, it will effect the changes. If you click this cancel sign, it will cancel it. Then this one is just like undo, it will start afresh, it will bring it back to its normal position, or the way it was, the default. So if you click here, everything will just come back to, you can see everything is now back to 0 0. You understand? Okay, then the next one here is color. You can use it to change the color of your font. If you go to color, you can see single color. The first one is single colors, you can change it to, you can see, you can change it to any color of your choice. Then you have the, so these are single color. You understand? These are single color. The other thing you have to know about this color is that, okay, this plus sign here is where you can further edit the color. For instance, if I go to this plus sign, you can see the color wheel. You can use it to adjust the color anytime, and from here. So these things are tools that you can use. For instance, after selecting any color here, you can use this one to increase the saturation of the color. If you bring it down, it will become lighter, just like tinting. You understand? So for instance, I'm using this blue. You can use this to increase the saturation of the blue. Once you take it down, You understand? It's become lighter. So this can give you different shades of blue. You understand? So this is how it is used. This one you can use it to make it. So this one, taking this one down, so this first one will enable you make uh to make any color you choose lighter to become lighter. Just for instance, taking it down will make it to become all this thing. It is still blue but a lighter form. You understand? Why this one will make it to be darker. It is still blue but this one is now deep. Then this one here, this option here, you can use it to the opacity of the color. Once you are taking this thing down, it will become transparent. Let's just go and see the effect. You can see you can't find the text again, but it is there. So this thing is normally used when you want to create text outline. Only text out. For instance, let's just skip to something. Let's just jump to something so that you see what I mean. Let's click OK. If you go to stroke and add stroke, just reduce this stroke. Let's zoom so that you see what we are talking about. Just look at the outline. You see the outline. You notice the outline. If this is a very thick font, you see. Okay, you see what I'm saying. You see the outline. You understand? So let's just go back. So you can see. So increasing this one like this, or taking it down, you just make your text to be lighter. Sorry, make the color. You understand? Then this one too, we make the color. If you are taking this one down, it will make the color to be deeper. This one is the opacity to make it transparent, a transparent text. Then here, this is where you can manually, like color. Every color has code. We have what we call color codes. You understand? You can be given a color code to design with. They'll give you a code that starts with this thing, this hash here, FF85. Every color has its code. So if you press this thing here, you see that it is changing. So they are the color codes. So after designing, somebody can ask you to share the color. If they want to use the exact color, they just need this code. You just give them this code. You understand? You can even maybe need color code for something. You can get it. You can go online. You can ask somebody the color code. They will give you the color code they used. You just come here. You can see this editing button, this pen. This is where you just paste you just add the color code. It might be different thing. Once you add the color code, it will give you the exact color that was used. You understand? Just okay, we have explained this one. This one can be used to make the color to appear lighter, and this one can be used to saturate it. That's when you are going up. Sorry, this one to appear lighter, to saturate it. This one can make it to be deeper, to the color to, you can see. Just be looking at this place. This is where the effect is taking place. So this one is used to make the text transparent. So as you are taking it down, you are decreasing the opacity and making it transparent. Then we have another thing here. This is a color picker. Can use it to pick color. You can use this thing to pick color. For instance, if I go to this color picker, it will pick any color here. So if you want to pick any color, you have to import that any object you want to pick the color from. So okay, this is the solid shape that we added to the workspace. So you can pick this color. Maybe I want this color to be the color of the text. I'll just pick it and say okay. then okay, you can see it's not the same color with this solid shape. Okay, then stay on this color. Okay, aside this, another thing you need to know here, you can see how you can see the selection, how it's highlighted this text. So you can use this option to choose. Maybe in this fertile land, I want fertile to have a different color from land, so I will just use this thing to adjust my selection. I can now choose any color I want. You can see. So that's how this one works. Okay, then there's another option there, gradients. So this thing we give it a gradient color. Let's go to gradients. You can see there are many gradients. The one you use last will appear. That's the first one. This is the one I used last. It will always appear. These are other templates, but you can create your own color gradients. You can see this selection button is still here too. If you want to use your hand to create your own color gradients, just go to this plus sign. So this is the gradient. So these stuffs here and here are the place that where the color is reflecting. So if I want to change the color gradient now, just first of all I will tap here. This one is in control of this. You can see they are the same color, while here is the color here. So anyone you want to change, you can just tap it. Once you tap here, then you go to this place, color. This is what the symbol, the icon of color. You can now adjust to any color you want. Okay, let me choose something like this. You can further edit it with this, either making it to be lighter or saturating it, or you make it to be deeper, the color to be okay. You can see you can also adjust this one. Once you want to adjust the color here, you click here, you tap here and go to color. You can now edit it here. Okay, even though this is not a good color, combination, but let's just work with it. You can see, let's adjust. Okay, this one is not matching, so let's change this blue to something else. Okay, what we have here, okay, right, let's just make it lighter. You understand? This is red. Let's just make it lighter, so all of them will still be the same color but different shades. You can see. So this is how it works. Then we have this plus sign here. This will enable you add more color. If you want to add more color, you know we have only two colors here, this one and this one. If you want to add more, just tap this plus. So this plus sign will now create another shade here. So if I want to add another shade of color here, depending on how to manipulate it, I can go here, maybe just increase or reduce or lighten it up. This is just to further, I can change it to a entirely different color so that you understand what I'm saying. You can see. You see. So this is how you can see the beautiful color shade is giving it. You can add more if you want. You can add many, as more as you can. And then if you want to remove anyone, just notice that once you click this, it will be selected. To know that it's selected, you see this arrow here. You can see the shadow behind it. You can see them. Anyone you select, you see the shadow behind it. That's when you know that you have selected it. If For instance, I want to delete this color shade here, this gradient color. I'll just click it and type minus, this minus sign. It will go. You see, you can also move to place it anywhere you want, like just like this. So if you increase this thing, okay, just can see what is the effect. So you can always adjust this. If you want to delete this one, now I'll just tap this minus, it will go. Okay, let me add. You can always move it. You can see the switch. If I want to move from one to another, maybe from this one to this one, I'll just be tapping. This thing is just like arrow, this direction. I can use this one. So this one is just like randomly switching everything. That is this two arrow here. But this one, you can use it to move from one to another. Just as the direction is. Okay, then you can always, okay, let me just add a more saturated color here. You can always use this handle too to adjust anything you want to adjust. You can see, you can always use it to adjust anything. The other one here is the ones at the top here. You can see the shades, how you want the shades of color to appear, the gradients to appear. Sorry. If you tap this one, you see, tap this one horizontal, tap this one at the center. So these are different positions of the color gradients depending on the purpose, how you want it to appear. Okay, you can also do the same thing you did in the other side by selecting a particular area and giving it the gradient you want. Now, okay, the next thing here is texture. That's for text. You can use this texture anywhere, but for text you can add texture to your text. Okay, let's just create an additional text. So you know, you can once you click this empty space and deselect the whole text, you can be able to create a new text by, once you are here, you can go to text. You have text, you have quotes. These quotes are just inbuilt, some quotes here. I don't think you'll be needing this thing for your design. Maybe that one is for your personal use. These are just quotes. So let's go back. You have this text where you can add text. Again, where you want to add text, you just go to text. Let's make it in capital letter. So now let's go to texture. So it will enable you to add texture to anything. You understand? Just let's go to texture so I will see what you are talking about. For instance, I need to add image or texture of anything. Maybe I downloaded the texture, golden texture, silver, or whatever. I just want to add it. Just take a look at what I'm saying. Go to texture. Then I'll go to, I'll click here. So for instance, I want to use any of these images here as my texture. You understand? So that the text we have the touches of the image I want to use. For instance, I want to use, okay, I can decide to use this so that it will give me the texture, because maybe I might not be able to get this texture by adding color gradients or all those stuff. You can see it cannot give me that feel that I want. I can use any of this texture. For instance, now using this one, you can just download any one you want. So let's select this now and see. You can see Let's just place OK. You see, it has given it texture of that particular color that is in that color that you downloaded, no matter what is there. Let's delete this. Let's add another thing. For instance, let's add this particular stuff here so that you get to understand this better. Select. You can just adjust, because I just need that Bitcoin, all those metallic loop there. You can just adjust it to remove this empty white space. So let's press OK. You can see. So this is what I mean by texture. You can also edit it. You can adjust it here. You can go to maintain ratio to maintain the ratio, then the scale. So this is how to use the texture. You can see you cannot get this thing by just going to gradient or using color. No, you can get it. So if you want texture, if you want to add a texture to your text using a particular image, this is how to do it. So let's go back. Okay, let's just reduce the sizes of these stuff so that we can see space. So let's just add another one. So we have the opacity. Just like the name is, you can use it to increase, decrease, or increase the opacity. You have this affect shadows. This one is when you have shadow. For instance, okay, let's just go and add shadow so that we see what we mean. Shadow. Enable. Let's add shadow here. You can see the shadow. Now let's go to opacity. So once you are reducing the opacity, you can see the shadow is not affected. You understand? You added shadow to this text, so the shadow is not affected. You can use it to create a wonderful text effect. You can just know how to manipulate it, be creative with it. You can see. You can see this effect is given. You can actually use this to create text effects. You understand? But what we want to talk about here is that if you want to, when you are reducing the opacity, if you want the shadow to also reduce, you just have to go here and enable it. Enabled. So anything you are doing will now be affecting both the shadow and the text itself. Okay. Now we have another tool here. Rotate. It's having the same purpose like this handle here. The only difference is that this one will come with precision, that you can be able to know the degree of the rotation. You can see the angle. It can help you to know the angle of rotation. So if I want to rotate it 45 degrees, if I want 45 degrees, I'll just take it to 45 degrees. So it will give you the degree of the rotation, so that everything will be accurate. Then you have the masking. You can use it to mask anything. So let's see how it works. You can use it for many purposes, but masking will basically mask, just like it will hide particular portion in your text. Let's go to masking. You can see it's enabled already. So this is good to enable it while working with it, so that you see the changes. Otherwise, it can just be editing, then later you enable. But so basically, this is how it works. You can use it to create many effects. Just take a look at this. Okay. You can see. Let's go back. So you can see this max mode in and out. So this in means that it will max anything that is inside. You understand? That is anything that is inside of this. Well, okay, if you take it over this place, you can see. Okay, let me move it from here. So the part of the text that is inside it will be masked. If you go to out, it means that any text outside the selected text will be masked. You can see. So that's how it works. See how you can be able to use this now. Let's take for instance, okay, let's click OK. Then let's copy this so that you see what you want to talk about. Copy. These are the same thing, just place it here. Then go to mask. Now instead of in, use out so that it will reverse. You can see. You now have something like this. So you can actually use this to create an effect here. You can use it to make all these broken text or slice text effects. So you can use this thing for many creative purposes. See all these broken text effects. So you can use maxing to achieve something like this. Then another thing you need to understand there, okay, this plus sign is just to add a additional masking. Okay, let's just get a plain this thing. So let me hide some of these. I will still show us how to hide things. Let me hide them so I can just have a, we're still going to go up there later. So let's go to masking. So once you add this mask, it cannot be any editing you will do will be on this particular masking. But if maybe for instance you have masked the things you need to mask and you still have another thing to mask, but you cannot tamper with this one, for instance this thing is like this, you can only move this thing. Maybe you have different areas of the text that you need masking, but you cannot take this thing to that place, you cannot stretch it to that place. You can just add more masking by tapping this plus sign to add another one that is independent from the other one, that is not affecting this one. So this one is on its own. You understand? So this particular masking now is on its own. It doesn't affect this one. Yes, that you still get to see the use of this. When you, after masking something, you need to mask another portion, but you cannot be able to use the same mask to mask that particular one. You understand? Because of the proximity. You understand? So you can always remove the last one. You can you can always remove it. You can see this is where you see the number of masks that you added. See, it's now one. You can add more than one. Okay, you can use this one to copy. You can also use copy to add that plus that you want to add. This one will just copy exactly the shape, the masking shape we added. Okay, then we have these options here. We are still going to treat this Bezier tool later, so we are not going to spend time on it here. This Bezier tool. So this Bezier tool is basically used for masking and shaping. It's just like a shape builder tool. So this one is just like the mode. It is the Bezier mode, where you can just about the handle, where you can adjust the handle. This one is for movement, so I can be able to move this. Without this you cannot move this. You can only move the handle. You understand that? You can see the shape of the handle here. You can only move the handle here, or these joints, but you cannot move the whole stuff at the same time. If you want to move it at the same time, everything, you just click here and you'll be able to move it to any place you want easily. Or that it will just be the handle that will be moving. So we have these Bezier options tools again. We have this plus. So this action is, you can see the effects of this action. It will just remove some points. This one is for scaling, to scale your Bezier tool. So you cannot increase the size by tapping here. For instance, okay, this thing is in the whole movement. Let's go to the handle. As you are tapping it, if you want to increase it, to be affecting the shape. You understand? So if you want to increase the scale it up, you don't have to use this, otherwise it will be affecting the shape. So you just have to go to this place, scaling. Once you go to this, once you select this one that will move everything, you go to scale. You can now scale it here. It will not affect the shape. This one is for rotation. Then once it is in this handle, you can see, sorry, this thing is used to link, to add this thing, to add points. You can see how the point is, new points are being added. It's used to add points so that it can have more areas that you are going to stretch. So you can see how it is moving. It's moving like this. How you know how it is moving is that if you add this, if you click here and add points, it will add it here. If you click here and add points, it will go here. So it's moving like that. We are still going to treat the Bezier mode. Okay, let's just take this thing, okay, to normal. Okay, now we have the fonts. We have the fonts where you can be able to select different fonts you want for your design. So these are all the fonts that you can choose. You can choose any of the fonts here. My font is when you download your own font. This is where it will appear, any font you download online. Recent is where you get the recent fonts you used. So this option is used when you want to download tests. We are still going to treat that part, but let's just focus on this one. So this is where basically you get the different, there are many fonts here that you can use for your design. If you now need extra fonts, you can download it online. So you can see the fonts here. Then we have style. Okay, to able to use this style, let's just take this thing to normal fonts here. Oh, this sorry, this mask is still affecting. Let's disable it so that it will stop affecting our text. So if you go to style, you can be able to bold, italize, underline your text. Okay, if you want to remove everything, just click here to cancel everything. Then this selection, it just make you to selectively format a particular portion of the text. I can make this one to be bold, italize, underline. You understand these selected areas. Okay, so that's how this one works. So we have the curve, just like the name is. You can use it to curve this. maybe to be around a particular shape. So that's the how this one, what is this one is used for. Just to take it to normal. Then we have background. So this one, you just give background to your tests. Let's go to background, enable. So you can select any background color you want. Left padding, see, right padding, top, down. So it's just the adjusting the background. Can the edge radius, you can also adjust it like this. You can see, so that's how this one is used. So you can use it to add contrast to your test. So when we start discussing the principles of design, you will understand what I mean by adding contrast to your test. So you can use it to create hierarchy and all those stuff to your test. We are still going to discuss that. So next one, we have the align. So this one, we are not going to see the, let's hide this. So let's get test somewhere. Let's go to codes and get a random test here. Okay. Now let's go to align so that we understand. So this thing is just for aligning. You can align it at the left, you can align right, center. You understand? Justify, you can justify. If you click justify, you see, you can justify right or left. You can see it, or center. But basically is almost everybody are aligned right. Always use this key here, this option here, to adjust. So this is how to align your tests. You can see once you justify it, will now be in a box shape. You have the line spacing. You can use it to add space in between the lines, just like the name is, line spacing. Then this particular spacing is used to add spacing to letter. You can see it's in between letters. Let's just reduce this thing so that I can be able to understand this. Okay, let's just hide this. Let's bring up this one, spacing. Wait, let's just remove this background here. Oh, sorry. So let's go to spacing. So this will enable you to create space between letters. You understand? Then we have stroke. So this stroke, we just add stroke to your test. So let's go to stroke, enable. You see, you can choose any stroke color you want. You can adjust the stroke width here. You can see. You can also add color, gradient color to the stroke. You can add anything or use your hand and select any one you want. Okay, so let's just take it back. Then we have the shadow that you can use to add you can use it to add shadow. If you go to, okay, we have shadow there already, so you can use it to add shadow, any shadow you want. So this is where you can adjust the opacity of the shadow. can increase the radius of the shadow here. You can add outer glow to the shadow. So you can actually use this to add glow effect, all those growing effects to your test. This one is offset, that is, okay, let's get a better shadow, a realistic shadow for this particular test though. So you can reposition it using this. So you can see the effect is given to this test. You can just reposition it anytime. You can always change the color of the, sorry, you can always change the color. Okay, so let's go back. Now we have inner shadow. This will enable you to add a inner shadow to your test. Let's zoom in so that, okay, let's remove this shadow. Okay, let's zoom so that you see what we are talking about. Inner shadow. Enable. You can see the inner shadow. You can change the color. All this thing we just add effects. You can see the inner shadow. You can offset it either in Y axis or in X or Y axis. You can always change the color of the offset anytime you want to anything you want. Then you have the emboss. Enable. At times when this thing normally, the size normally affects this emboss, you just have to reduce the size until you get what you want. Okay, so you can always edit to adjust the increase the intensity. So all these things are used in test effects. You can bevel it. You can see the effect is giving it. So all these things are just test effects. Let's take it back. Then we have the perspective. We are still going to use this thing to achieve a lot of things. So let's go to perspective. To just give your test or anything that you any object's perspective. Let's enable it. You can see this perspective is giving it. All these things are adding, all these things are just test effects you can use in your test. You can see this perspective. It will help to create a 3D appearance to your test. Something like this. You can see the perspective is giving it, so that's how it is used. Then you have the 3D rotation. Just rotate your test in different axes, not your normal rotation like this. It will give it a 3D rotation. You can see, just like perspective, so it will give you a 3D appearance, not your normal rotation, just around the axis. This one will be X and Y axis rotation. Let's take it back to normal. Then we have the 3D. So let's just remove this background. We have the 3D test. Let's go to 3D tests. You can always adjust. You can use oblique perspective. So all this thing depends on you. You can adjust it here to just give a 3D look to your test. There are many options here when you can change the color of the perspective. So So all this thing will help you to change the color shades, the shades of color of the perspective. You can darken or lighten. You can reduce the. You can lighten it by taking this thing down. Darken it by taking it up. They can rotate it. So all these things are test effects you can use in your test. There are many things you can adjust here. You see what's happened when I disable the stimulate lightning effect. All those scattering stuff went off. You can see what I'm talking about. If I enable it, you see, so you can remove it here, so that it will give it a better 3D shape. You can reduce the depth, so that it will be like this. Then you can rotate anyhow you want. So this is 3D test. You can use it to add 3D test. You can always change the color shades of the test. You can use gradient too, just the way we discussed. You can select any gradients or create it by yourself. Okay, let's go back. So you have the 3D shadow. Enable. So if you add that 3D shadow to your test, you can adjust everything. You can expand it. You can change the color. Okay. Then you have the reflection. Enable. You see. So all these things will give your test. You can edit it, offset it, to just give your test a wonderful effect. You can use it anyhow you want for any purpose. Okay. So with this, we have discussed everything about test. So we'll continue in the next class. We'll continue with the other tools here. So see you in the next class. Bye for now.